Hi everyone, my name is Matthew Spizak. I was born in January of 1998. Today I will be talking about what happened in sports. Um, in sports, what were the major top sport games? Um, who who were the major topics that month? And in general, what was just the top anything in sports? Anything in sports, okay? So in sports, we got Wayne Gretzky. He was named the greatest hockey player at that time, and still is to this day. He's one of the greatest hockey players to ever play the game. Don Sutton was introduced into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Still to this day, I think it was well deserved. Um, Ryan Schweitzer, he resigned as Dallas Cowboys head coach. At that time, at that month, he was it was big news back then. Also, my favorite team, Michigan, they won the Rose Bowl 21-16 to Washington State. That was a big game, and that is something that Michigan is still to this day. It's still big to them, and one of their top games back then, and still to this day. Um, Also in sports, there we have Rick Parison. He was a Boston Celtic. They retired his jersey 00 back then in January of 1998. CBS, one of the top TV stations, still to this day, they signed a $4 billion contract to televise the AFC NFL sports playoff game for 8 years. Um, that was big back then. $4 billion, still to this day, is a lot of money, and back then it was a big deal to people. So that is something that is real. Um, that was headlines back then. So, and then also we got Denver Broncos. They won the Super Bowl that month. They beat the Green Bay Packers 31-24. That was a game, obviously, that I wasn't too familiar with, but watching it now, it was a crazy game. Now we're moving on. We're moving on to just everyone's fan favorite. So we got the top songs, top movies, top books. Also, we got some gossip even in there. Also, some top rumors, like I said. So we got the Titanic. Titanic was one of the top movies that month, and still throughout the year, I think it was one of the top movies. Top songs, top artist. That was the Spice Girls. One of the head singers, Victoria Beckham, ended up getting engaged to um, David Beckham that month, which was something that was very headlined back then. Also, one of the top books back then, we got Harry Potter, Chamber of Secrets. That is something to still to this day people love to watch. Harry Potter is one of the well known um, books and movies also. Also, the population back then was 269 million. That's what it was listed at back then, and still to this day it has grown, but it was a lot back then. Also, we got the 100th episode of Ellen. That is something that was also very everyone realized it, and it was very popular. Oprah Winfrey and also Jerry Seinfeld, they were the two people who were well recognized throughout the month of January, and still to this day, they still are very well known people. Their shows are always on TV, and people just know who they are. Now we'll be getting into politics now. Politics. Bill Clinton, he was headlined as for a sexual harassment case, and this is something that was going on throughout the whole month. It even happened before, but this is something that was very headlined in the month of January, just because he was being charged for accused of sexual harassment, and then it was just going on throughout the whole month. And then he later on had a press conference that month that was stating that he had no involvement with no sexual harassment or anything. It's still something to this day that is questioned, though. And uh, the bomber of the 9/11 attack, he was sentenced to life in prison that month of January. Some other things we still have going on here. Um, Pope Paul visited Cuba that month after the huge flood in Cuba. Um, Michelangelo painting, one of the famous paintings of all time, was sold that month for 4.3 million. That is something that is well recognized. Um, World Trade Center, obviously I was talking about that, the World Trade Center bombing, he was sentenced. And then David Beckham, we spoke about that. He was engaged to Victoria Beckham. And yeah, those are some of the great topics that happened that month. And hope you like my video, and see you next time. Bye.